when McCarthy and I made that film in Ireland, we were very conscious. We were trying to make a new style of film, get rid of the commentary, and make it comprehensible, even though it's in Gaelic. Make it comprehensible by structure and by subtitling the Gaelic to American students, and I suppose British students too, if they're interested. And this became called observational cinema.
Yes.
Ours was the very first film made in that style, although the McDougalls were in our film school right then. They were cutting films in their style, the same style that came out a little later. It turned out that film had real historic significance, not just for the reason I've given, that this particular style of documentary is illustrated by, but 2 or 3 years later, Ireland joined the common market. And then the economy in Ireland began to boom. And as Chairman Mao said long ago, a rising tide lifts all the boats. And it did in Ireland too. People around Dublin who were now in IT business and were making piles of money wanted weekend cottages and getaway places. And so they went to Dunquin, they bought up old cottages, fixed them up, or built new cottages there. You can get there in a 5-hour drive from Dublin, after all. They employed lots of local people to help in all this reconstruction. The place has had a booming tourist industry ever since we left it. I don't think because of us, but because David Lean went there and made this rather bad film, Ryan's Daughter, for MGM. At the same time I was working in MGM, he was making that. I believe he saw our film, or one of his minions did, and that's how they got the idea they'd go and shoot in that village. But from that and the general development of the tourist industry in Ireland, this place now has a good standard of living, lots of money. Whereas when we were there, not only was it very poor, it was very sad. I think that the population we saw in that village, which was clearly old, as you can see from the film, very few children, and some of those are visiting children, it was a very old population of people who were something like social relics. They weren't smart enough, educated enough, or knew English enough to immigrate to the United States, or even to Liverpool. So, or some tried and were turned back by US immigration. So there they are there. And you'd see in a house 2 or 3 old men and 2 or 3 old women living together, and you'd think, oh, that's nice, you know, in their old age they got together and they're supporting each other, and you know, when one of them's widowed, the others will support them. And then you discover none of those people has ever been married. They're a bunch of brothers and sisters, and they've been living together since birth.